You can imagine. We're just seeing the crude remains. And come on, guys, you have to admit, we're inspired. You know, we stand here and say, wow, it was all real. Can you imagine back then, coming here? That's why Tosfot says there was a mitzvah, Ma'aser Sheni. Come, guys. We're going to take a little walk. I want to show you a couple of more things which are very nice. I'm not going to talk a whole lot. We're just going to go through. I want to show you these fascinating steps. It's late. Ooh. On the south side, near the Hulda gates. Yeah.
500-person chasana.
Very nice. It's hard to see from here, but there are many archways, rooms. They found a whole building with many, many, many rooms, which most archaeologists believe was an inn, an Ole Regel inn. When the pilgrims came to Yerushalayim for the holiday seasons, 3 times a year, the command of the Torah that they come, they would sleep. They had to have a place to sleep. You know, Chazal tell us that Jewish people were not allowed to rent out rooms to make a living, to make money on the Ole Regel, on the pilgrims coming. That was forbidden, because Jerusalem belonged to all the tribes of Israel. No one could claim that they own Jerusalem. People would sleep, room and board for free. In fact, in Pirkei Avos, I'm sure you remember, where is it? I think the 5th Perek, it says that there were certain miracles. And one of the miracles was no Jew ever complained he couldn't find lodging. He couldn't find a place to sleep here in Yerushalayim. So this was maybe one of the places, one of the hotels that they slept in. Very possibly. Come, let's backtrack a little bit. We're going to go this way. We are standing now, mostly reconstructed. Chaval that this group here to our left, to our right, is sitting on the original part of the steps. But maybe we'll let you guys go up in a moment and stand on a little bit of the original steps. But we are over here. We're on these steps, which once led up to two sets of the gates, which were called the Hulda gates. You know, the Mishnah in Midos talks about the gates in the outer walls, and it tells us that there were 2 sets of gates in the south called the Hulda gates. Why Hulda? Hulda was a prophetess. She was a Neviah in the times of the first Beis HaMikdash. Some say she prophesied over here. Some say she had a house of learning over here. Some say she's buried not far from here. They point out on Har HaZeisim, the grave of Hulda HaNeviah. The Rosh, Rabbi Asher, on that Mishnah says the reason why it's called the Hulda gates is because people went in through these gates, which were at the base of the mountain, like a gopher, like a weasel, you know, who lives at the base under the house. Rabbi Asher, it's an interesting thing. At any rate, there were 2 sets of Hulda gates. All the other gates, all the other walls, the Mishnah said, had 1 gate. Why were there 2 over here? Because most of the action in the Beis HaMikdash grounds was over here in the south part. All the action not involving the Kohanim, who were actually inside the Beis HaMikdash itself, was all over here, where this royal basilica was. We mentioned a lot of the things that took place over here. Most of the Jewish population lived down there, in what today is the Arab village of Silwan, but that was the lower Jerusalem, the Ir HaTachtona. They would come up here, and they needed 2 gates to accommodate so many people going in and going out. Now the Mishnah says whenever a person went into Har HaBayis, they went in on the right and came out on the left. So most probably they went in on the right and out on the left. Now where are these Hulda gates today? They're destroyed. But if you look to your right, down the wall, you can see 3 triple archways, all filled in. That is where one set of the Hulda gates was. And the other set of the Hulda gates, blocked by this medieval tower, this Crusader tower, but you can see the archway is not from the Hulda gates. Look above it, where that protrusion, where that bird is sitting up there. Just under that is a little bit of the remains of the left Hulda gate. These steps that we're standing on, that we see in my picture, these steps, the Ole Regel, would go up to Har HaBayis. That's why, you know, in the Mishnah in Bikurim, it says when they would bring the first fruits, they would say, Kumu na'ale Tzion, let's go up to Tzion. You go up the steps, like we're seeing from way down beneath. If you look behind you, you can see where behind the buses down there, that was the lower city. You came up to Jerusalem. You came up these steps. There's a famous, fascinating Mishnah in Chagiga. There's a machlokes Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel. When is a child so young that he's not obligated by his father to be brought to the Beis HaMikdash grounds, to the Olei Regel? I don't remember who says what, but one says if a child is so young that he can't sit on his father's shoulder by himself and be carried up the steps to the Beis HaMikdash, he's not obligated. The other one says, either Shammai or Hillel, that when is a child considered so young? Not if he can't sit on his father's shoulder, but if he can't hold his father's hands and walk up the steps to the Beis HaMikdash grounds. These are the steps, guys. That's what the Mishnah is talking about. And notice something very interesting. One step is narrow, one step is wide. One step is narrow, one step is wide. The original ones are the same way. Where these people are sitting, you can see. One is narrow, one is wide. That's why the reconstructed ones were built in the same manner. One narrow, one wide. One narrow, one wide. Why? Why? There's a din of mora mikdash, of trembling, of fear. You can't just run down when you're finished the Beis HaMikdash, whatever you did there, bring a carbon or whatever. You didn't just come hopping, skipping up the steps. You have to calm down. You have to realize where you were going into, what you were going out of. This kind of steps made a person slow down, think where you're going. Listen to what the Rambam says. I'm quoting the Rambam's Psak Halacha. First of all, the Gemara mentions two very interesting things. There's a pasuk in Amos which says, Hikon, prepare yourself, likrat Elokecha Yisrael. Jewish people, Hikon. You don't just run up, you slow down. You go, prepare yourself. You go with the right mode, the right feeling. There's another pasuk in Kohelet, Shmor raglecha, watch your feet, Ka'asher telech el Beit HaElokim. You're going up here to the Beit Elokim, the house of the Almighty. You watch your feet. The Rambam says, Mitzvat aseh liyira min hamikdash. It's a positive command to fear the temple grounds. V'lo min hamikdash ata yireh. You're not afraid of the building. Ela mimi shetziva al yirato. But the one who commanded you to fear. V'chol hanichnas. Anyone going up in to the Temple Mount grounds. Yehaloch benachat. Should go slowly. V'yireh atzmo. He should feel to himself, Shehu omed lifnei Hashem, he's standing before the Almighty. Umahalech, and he should walk be'ema, with trembling, or with trepidation. Ubeyira, with fear. Ure'ada, and with trepidation, but happily. He should go happily, but he should realize the right decorum. Okay, that's the quote of the Rambam. So that's why the steps were built in this kind of a manner, to slow one down. It's interesting, we don't really have time today to go, but in the picture you can see, we're standing on this set of steps, over here, which is called the Western Hulda steps. This is west, the Western Hulda steps. On the other side of the platform, where that group is standing up there, where Barnea's group is standing way on top there, there's another set of steps like this, which I'm pointing to here in the picture, but it's much thinner. It's not as wide like this one here. You can see in the picture, it's much thinner. Why? Why is the east set of Hulda steps, where the triple gates once were, much more narrow, and the western Hulda steps, where the west gate is, much wider? Because when people went up to the Beis HaMikdash, they didn't all go at the same time. You know, people went 4 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 8 in the morning. Everybody went at different times. So all you needed was a smaller set of steps to go up. But when the services were over, right? When everybody finished whatever they had to do, you know, the whole service in the Beis HaMikdash was finished, on Yom Kippur, let's say, after the Kohen Gadol did what he did, the exit was a mass exit. Everybody came out at one time. You had to accommodate thousands of people going out at once. So that's why you had such much wider steps like we have over here. But even when you came out, you went slowly, just like when you went in. Okay, on top they found mikvaot. We're not going to go really up there now. Notice though, the whole wall, nothing left from the second Beis HaMikdash. Unlike the Kotel HaMa'aravi.